Now, is building a home in the village dead capital? And what do you mean by dead capital? Is the money that is just sleeping, it is not helping you. Now, is it dead capital? I think you can help me there. But what I know is that building a house in the village is not dead capital. I know people who are aged between 20 and 30 and up to 35. Most of them will tell you it is dead capital. But they have never faced a challenge that will force them run from the village. It is the same case where people living in foreign countries, they will say that they are better in everything compared to people from their village. But if something happens, they'll run to their village to seek shelter. So building a house in the village has never been dead capital. What happens is that at some age, you may not need that house at all. I see most people who are aged 40 and below don't need a house in the village. They visit there once a year, once after 2 years. They don't have another business. But as you age, as you start aging from 40 years and above, you find the importance of going to live in the village, the importance of living in a very quiet place. Now, when you are in your 20s, that noise in the town is usually very enticing. It's good. You love it. The noise, the commotion. But as you age, you realize that you need peace. You have so many things in your head that need peace. That's where village comes in. That's why you see old people aged between 60 and above, they leave their houses, very decent houses in town, and go to live in the village. They actually love the the voice of the birds, the voice of the chicken, cow, and everything. And they find fun in farming. Now, when you build a house in the village, that house serves so many things. The first thing is it can help you during emergencies. For example, in town, you might find that there's political tension. It has happened in many cases. When political tension is very high, towns are affected. Now, during that time, moving to the village is the best idea. So imagine that you have not built a house. You are going with your with your wife and 3 children to live in your brother's house, which is 2 bedrooms. It is very uncomfortable. You find that during that tension, when you go home, you find peace if you have your own house. Another reason why it is very, very critical to have a house in the village is because as you age, you realize that you have lifestyle diseases, which needs those foods from the farm fresh, and also that peace that is in the village. And you don't need the noise in town. You don't need to strain even going to hospital. So village is the best place when you are in that condition. that is where you have family members who can help you in case of emergency. Because in town, everyone is busy. So that's another reason why you need a house in the village. Apart from that, this was a very, very important reason. Now, at this age, when you are young, you have resources. So if you are renting a house in town, you find that you can pay electricity, you can pay all the bills, and even rent. But it reaches a time where the income gets less and less, or you get fired. So if you are fired, you cannot go to live in your in your friend's house for long. So you just go to your house in the village and restart, or you do other things. It is becomes very easy. So people lose income. You can get accident and lose your income. Life is not linear. So in case of that, what you do is that you simply find peace in your house in the village. It is a very, very good reason. I've also seen another case. Someone built a house in Nairobi, a very decent one. After living there for some few years, the government came and said this house, this land belonged to the airport. All those people who had built houses there lost all of them, and many of them became homeless. Now imagine losing your house you have lived maybe for 15 years. You are aged 60. You don't have income, or your income is very little. You cannot afford to buy another land, and you have not to build a house in the village. What will happen? You'll face wrath. Even your family will desert you. So those things happen. The government will just come and say, here, this land was allocated for road. They chase you away. Or someone will just come and claim that the land belonged to them. You are sold the land with a fake title deed. And then you are chased from that land. So cases happen, especially in town. Now, apart from that, there is a reason why building a house in a village is good, but also be very careful. When you are building, ensure that it is not so big. If you have a small family, why build 10-bedroom house for showing off? No, in the village, just build even a 2-bedroom house, just a small good house where you can go and rest. Because when you are young, you don't stay there for long. So it's important to not to waste a lot of money in building a house. Even in town, don't build 12-bedroom house when in the family you are just 3. Most of the space will never be occupied. It reaches a time in life when your children, they go and start their own life there, or your wife goes with her children and you remain alone, and those 12 bedrooms will never help you. I've also seen a reason why people build a house in the village. The ancestral land is very important. If you are married, and in times of divorce, something can happen, and you lose that family house in the town to your wife. You lose everything. What will you do? If you have never built a house in the village, a depression will kill you. So it is for emergency cases and to give you peace. And let me tell you one thing. Those people have been in marriage for long. will tell you that having more than one house is important in separate locations. So you have one house in Nairobi, another one, let's say in Kisumu. So mkikosana, if there you get differences with your wife, instead of doing something bad, we just go to Kisumu and rest there for something like 2 days, 2 weeks, 1 month, so that things cool down, and then you return later. And also the boredom that comes with marriage. You know, that aspect of seeing someone every day, every morning, every evening, they get bored. That's why most people separate, because of that boredom. So if you feel that I'm now bored, so what you do is that you go to the village, or the wife goes to the village. You just give each other distance, and after some time, you start missing each other. That space is very important. So basically, that is why building a home in the village is not debt capital. And the last reason is that that house can help you secure a loan. It can act as a collateral, or it can help you to pay hospital bills. So don't take it as a useless investment. It can help you in future. So if you have land just in the village, just build a small house and leave it there. You don't know what will happen in future. In the next 20 years, you don't know what will happen. You lose your job, your money. So that is the whole idea of building a house in the village. And don't take advice from those 20s people, these young people who have never experienced life. They are just starting life. They don't know the journey that is involved. So that is the whole idea. You can subscribe, can also comment and disagree or agree. We are open to anything.